Good evening and welcome to the Friday Euro Show. I'm your host, Mr. Friday Night. Yes, it's still happening. Chris Brack. And I'm joined today by Avi. Welcome back. Did you actually remember what time you worked?
Thank you. Yeah, I've taken special time off. I've given myself a 3-hour slot just in case we go into overtime.
Well, you wouldn't shut up last time. That was the problem. But then also we've got the nicest man on Twitter. Well, you actually are nice on Twitter. YouTube as well. Callum from Coppish. How are we, bud?
Good, thanks, bro. Happy to be back. Another Friday night. This is what we do.
It is. How's things on Coppish? I believe you have some weirdos in your comments in the chat.
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name, but yeah, he's just really on to me about Firmino. It's hard work he is. We might just block him one day. I don't know. No.
I've heard it's what drives your numbers, but that's a different show. So we've done the high of 2005. We've done the low of 2007. So to cheer you all up, we're going to do 2016 and talk about Basel because, hey, what more can you want? And if trust me, this will be more fun than watching an England game. My Lord, that's a good cure for insomnia, that wasn't it?
That was rough.
That was rough, but what do you expect when you've got Gareth Southgate in charge?
Yeah, or Wastegate as I call him.
Mini Roy Hodgson. That's all I'm going to say. That's what he is. So we're going to talk about the Basel run because, to be honest, it was a weird run because the second half of the run, apart from the end, is really good. The beginning's a bit of a slog, and quite a lot happened because it was a weird season to go into. To be honest, because we went into the season, Rodgers was still there, all his backroom staff weren't, which was bit of a sign. I mean, how are you guys feeling good season? I mean, I'll hold my hands up. I wanted him gone after we got slapped by Stoke. Which look, I never saw the game, so actually in my head it never happened. But when you get slapped 6-1 by Stoke, I'm a bit like, that, for me, you're done, So he felt to me like a dead man walking, and I always felt the summer transfers we did that didn't all make sense. As in, you signed Christian Benteke, who's caused us murder, and you sell all your wingers. It's a bit odd, that I think.
Yeah, are you guys there?
Oh, I thought
Chris is gone.
Yeah, I thought it was just me.
No, we can.
You're perfectly still there, Abby.
I know. I was saying, what's happening there? We can take this while he restarts. That summer, I remember being ecstatic because I know we were linked with Depay that summer, and I know there's a story that's gone out this week about that transfer. But I was happy that we actually got Bobby Firmino because I did watch a bit of Bundesliga football, and I was impressed with what I was seeing at Hoffenheim. It just seemed that though when he did get completed, because I remember Ian Air flew out to Brazil, didn't he, to get this done? Because I think they had the Copa or some kind of tournament going on. And then he comes and he starts early on. He didn't even start him. And then when he did start him, he was playing him off the wing. And I was like, this ain't Bobby. Yeah. And we're not going to get the best of Bobby here. And then I remember the game. Oh, he's gone. Okay, we can just carry this on. It was the weird thing was about that summer is, we lost to Stoke and everyone thought, and the way things were coming out from Brendan as well. Like, look, if the board want to sack me, it's up to them. I've failed, and my job is ultimately it's up to the owners. But they still backed him that summer, Cal.
I was going to say,
backed him a bit in that summer.
Yeah, I actually think we had it. Looking back, especially in hindsight, and where the team is now. Joe Gomez we brought in that summer.
Yeah, 3.5 million.
Obviously, he's a quality player.
Superb.
James Milner came in that summer on a free as well.
Yeah.
Then obviously Firmino, who's still a mainstay in the team now. Benteke was the one that everyone kind of said that is the player we needed. However, I was never the biggest fan of getting him, but I could understand the logic of it because he was good at Villa and you thought he could go up a level where around better players. So the logic made sense and he was Premiership proven as well.
It was that notion, wasn't it, that we needed like a target man for a change. And then Danny Ings as well.
Danny Ings on the free as well. So it was a good summer.
There was no complaints from me. I thought Ings had done well at Burnley. Got him in. And he had a bit of pace about him. He had a bit of like Nelson. Obviously, we've seen the player that he's gone on to become after, God forbid he's had 2 bad sort of knee injuries. And he's coming, I think he's back.
We still had Sturridge at the time as well.
Sturridge, and early on he was on fire. And this was the issue with Sturridge because the season before he had started to get those injuries.
Yeah.
Where his hamstrings and his body was just letting him down. He was just like, he was too quick, but too quick for his own legs.
Yeah.
And his legs were failing. A bit similar to Owen.
Yes. Bit like my laptop.
Yeah, keep him free.
That's what happened then.
Did you catch most of that, or
no? I didn't catch any of it. My laptop decided to overheat.
Just caught up with the Rodgers sort of transfer window in the summer. Gomez coming in, Benteke, Cal's touched upon it, and then going into the new season. I think Cal was saying as well. We were fairly optimistic going into the new season.
See, I was optimistic with the signings, but I wanted Rodgers gone.
You wanted him gone off that season?
Oh yeah. I after that, it wasn't just the Stoke game. It was the 2 semi-final losses the season before. So we lost in the League Cup semi-final, and then it was the FA Cup semi-final. That was really the nail in the coffin. And then when the Stoke game happened, I was just like, no, enough's enough now.
That FA Cup semi-final was my biggest strop, where you're like going, right, we've got one more chance. Falls to Degs. I don't think that ball landed. As soon as he connected, I just put my coat, went, fuck that, and I walked out. I walked out.
6 years later, still doing the same thing. Did you see his free kick today? Absolutely awful, man.
But guys, let's not forget that season as well, where we went out in the League Cup and the FA Cup semi-finals. We also went out in the Europa on penalties. I can't remember who it was too.
Besiktas, wasn't it?
Besiktas.
Lovren's penalty again.
Lovren's penalty. But it's just like, how have we gone to penalties against in this? But, what's going on?
Yeah, at least the thing with Lovren and penalties, my criticism was he was like 6th penalty taker. I was thinking there was loads of, I would say, more talented penalty takers that clearly didn't fancy it, which is, I'll never criticize a player who goes up for a penalty because I'm like, there's clearly people that didn't fancy that. You always wonder why. So we're going to breach through the group stage because, quite frankly, it was 4 draws, 2 wins, and I'll be honest, even the wins weren't that great.
Crazy.
So the first 2 games there was a draw away at Bordeaux. Lallana scores a lovely goal, and then we throw it away. Sion at home, Lallana scores a good goal. We throw it away. Feels like a theme, this.
We won that. Did we win that game? Or did
we didn't win. We drew that one, yeah.
We drew that one as well.
I never heard of Sion. I was like, and then the manager goes, which was being criticised in some minutes. It's really harsh. You're like going, we're all like, yeah, but he was only a couple of losses away from we'd all lost the plot with him, really. So you kind of knew he was going anyway because of his backroom staff went. So you kind of know where he is. So then it was Ancelotti or Jurgen Klopp. So I'll hold my hands up. My gut reaction was, hope we get Ancelotti, proven winner. That's what we want. And then I'll be honest, after I had a word with myself and I think, and I went, yeah, but Ancelotti's really good with sides that are just on the cusp of winning something, and he basically sprinkles the stardust and makes them brilliant, like he did with Chelsea. I was looking at going, we've got a lot of work to do. Perhaps we do need someone like a young manager like we had with Rodgers, but a young manager with experience. I mean, he's won a major league, so I was quite excited with Klopp, and obviously YouTube Klopp, and I was like, I remember him from his Champions League fan that he lost. I thought he was brilliant, so I thought, this could be quite exciting. Avi, how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, so Brendan, I think, got sacked on that eve after the Everton game, wasn't it? The 1-1 draw when Ings scored and they scored, wasn't it? So he got sacked. And I think someone mentioned in the comments when Thierry Henry grabs Jamie Carragher's leg, one of those moves. Like, really? As soon as Klopp's name was mentioned, I wanted him in. I thought it was a really good fit, and I'm not just saying that now in hindsight, but I really thought that was a good fit. His passion, his energy. The only thing with Klopp was I was skeptical because of that last season that he had. That has this sort of gang and press sort of structure. Like, has he been found out in Germany, and or maybe it was just a refresh that he needed, or he actually just needs to walk because he's taken every ounce out of that Dortmund team. Luckily, and Ancelotti, but I think Ancelotti's name was being bandied about when Dalglish was relieved of his duties after the FA Cup final after that season, and then obviously they went with either Martinez or Rodgers, and then it came to Rodgers the second time of asking.
It's mad, isn't it? Because you think like at the time it was Rodgers, it was Martinez, Curbs was still around, Martin O'Neill was heavily linked, and you're thinking now like, okay, now. Whereas at least this you're going Ancelotti and Klopp thinking that's a higher caliber, and then as Ali A points out, De Boer.
But he was a candidate as well, yeah.
I mean, to be fair, he'd only been there like 60 days, and he'd go again.
Wasn't Klinsmann a candidate?
Klinsmann was a shout during Hicks and Gillette, Cal.
Yeah, they wanted to replace.
They wanted to get Benitez out before he actually walked.
Okay.
Yeah. So
my bad.
And then he came in, and then but we always knew that he's coming in, and I thought of it as a free hit. Like he's got like, I think he came in October? Was it October, November? Was it?
Yeah, October.
Yeah. I thought, what let's just see what he can do with this current squad, and then we'll rebuild from that season on. But he got a few good results. City away, Chelsea away, which I was at Stamford Bridge, that 3-1 game.
City was his first league win, wasn't it?
League win, yeah.
He didn't get. Let's be fair to Klopp. Everyone forgets, like he didn't get off to the greatest of starts, is it? It was lots of draws, lots of 1-1s. I think his first win was a 2-1 win in the League Cup against Bournemouth.
No, it was 1-0, I think.
1-0.
Nathaniel Klein.
Yeah. When Teixeira hit that
from left back.
Teixeira tried to back it. I was at that game and I screamed, "Oh my god, it's in!" I was so gutted when he saved it because it'd have been like, "That's an awesome debut goal." So
Klein was playing left back that day.
Yeah. Well, who else did we have at left back then? Anyway, so ironically, we played Ruben Kazan. Emre Can, the German scores. If you feel like stars are written, they go down to 10 men, and then we can't hit a barn door over Banjo. And Klopp's first European draw sticks out for me because I was in Budapest on my brother's stag do, and me and my brother had a massive stand-up row over that game because I was convinced we could still get to the final, and my brother wasn't, and he was telling me I was delusional. It's quite funny what you fall out with someone over a game of football. Admittedly, it was late in Budapest, and it was a few beers in, so that's normally where these come from. But that was my memory of it. Then the other games were Ruben Kazan. Ibe scores a beaut. And nothing else happened. Nothing else happened in the game. It was weird this season because up until probably January time, you thought Klopp's going to get something out of Ibe because there was thought Ibe would be the new Sterling or better than Sterling. My honest opinion of Ibe was he's good. He's not as good as Sterling. He didn't quite have. I wouldn't say he had the game intelligence Sterling has. I know he's had a stinker tonight, but Sterling on his day is brilliant. And then after that, we beat Bordeaux 2-1. But the only thing I remember from that game is Mignolet forgot the pass back rule and picked the ball up.
Benteke scored a lovely goal in that game.
He did. I think that was his only Europa League goal that season, which probably says a lot about Benteke. And then Milner scored a pen.
You're
Benteke
right.
scored an absolute beauty, though, didn't he?
Yeah, he took it.
He told it, and then he turned it and swiveled.
Yeah,
great goal.
Yeah.
Milner scored the penalty first.
Yeah, Milner scored a pen.
And then the second, for 2-1. I think on the stroke of half time he scored, didn't he?
Yeah.
But I think Benteke scored in a stroke of half time. Milner scored before that.
Yeah, that's right. And then second half, they had one decent free kick right near the end, which Mignolet makes a good save. And then the last game, Sion, it was a dead rubber. We were already through. It was the most uninteresting 0-0. I had to watch YouTube highlights of it. No memory of the game.
Yeah, that's rough.
But that was pretty much the Europa League group stage. You were just like, oh, thank Christ we're through. Because to be honest, the league wasn't going well. For every Man City win, we'd throw a 2-0 lead away against Southampton. There was lots of silly losses, which was just what we had really, because the squad wasn't deep enough. Where players like Saka and Toure, who just had brain farts for no apparent reason. Lovren was still finding his feet. I mean, I don't know where he put them half the games, like he kept falling over. So we got into the new year. We got into the last 32. You always forget there's an extra round in Europa League.
Yeah.
And we got Augsburg. Now, I've got to admit, I was quite excited we playing Augsburg because I was like, it's a side we've never played before. And I quite like it when we play someone we've never played before until the games arrived. Callum, do you want to talk about the first leg? That's like that under-hit.
Callum was streaming it last night, full 90 minutes yesterday. He downloaded it from some weird stream. He was telling me.
It's like
the other hit pass Sterling does at the end of the game.
Give us a clinic, Mikhail. Give us a clinic. Go on.
Talk us through the game lineups.
It's the first time we really got to look at the Estonian Emperor, also known as Klavan, isn't it? And
he was good.
Actually, I remember watching that game and thinking. Obviously, I didn't think he was world class or anything. He's decent.
He's solid. He looks solid.
Yeah. They look like a good outfit. Augsburg played well against us. I don't think either team really created anything. It was a boring game. And I think because it was the first German opposition Klopp was playing since being a manager, I think everyone hyped up the game and was like, yeah, this is going to be massive. And it was just bad. It was really, really bad. And I was just like, well, at least we haven't conceded. We can take these lot back to Anfield and we'll batter them. And even that didn't happen, really. That round of 32 was rough.
Jonathan's correct, actually. He didn't forget the back passer. That was a different game. He held onto the ball too long.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
He does so many. He manually did so many of them. You're like, which cock up was it?
I'll hit it in a nutshell, guys. The best thing about that Augsburg game was, both those games were, we unearthed a gem in the great Ragnar Klavan. and we brought him that summer of 2016. So the folk hero. We discovered a gem, and you know what? To be fair to him, the 2-3 years he was with us, he didn't never hardly put a foot wrong.
Yeah, I love
play to the better. Yeah,
he was your perfect fourth choice centre back. You bring him in for 2-3 games, he'd do a job, and then you get him out again. And he was quite content with that, to be honest.
Yeah.
So was that, and some put Klavan was variation of a Kreutzer. It's great. Let it run through his legs, didn't they? And then turn around really quickly. The only thing I will say about Klavan, Jeremy says like when you watch, everyone looks good on YouTube. Klavan doesn't look good on YouTube. It is the most boring YouTube thing. The only thing exciting about it was the music. Just Google Klavan, YouTube Klavan. It's so dull. Speaking of dull, the home game, we get an early pen. Milner slots a pen. It's pretty routine. Yeah. And I was thinking, right, early goal. We could, just pick him off now. And Jesus Christ, nothing happened. It's just like everyone went, yeah, that's 1-0 to do. I was like, oh. This was like watching Mourinho. Not Klopp's. It's like watching Mourinho or the Rafa days. We were like going, just find the result. Which look, to be fair, that's what you have to do. But it's still like, Jesus Christ, you're hoping for a bit more, really. Especially when you hear about Klopp and his heavy metal football. It wasn't heavy metal football at this point. Callum, because you're good at this, who was our top goal scorer in the Europa League
that season?
Yeah.
All right. So Lallana got 2 in the first 2. Benteke, Milner got 1. Milner again against Augsburg. Then it was Sturridge and Firmino against United. Then Coutinho again.
Don't give the whole plot away. Let's give the whole plot away here.
And then it was Lallana. Then
Lallana was joint top with 3, and Sturridge with 3.
I was Sturridge. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Milner had 2, Origi had 2, and Coutinho had 2. Who's the top assist maker? Avi.
Fucking hell.
So you thought
I was still a kid. I was still a baby when I was watching these games. Man, come on, give me a break.
You were still a baby. You were still a baby in 2016.
I reckon it was. It must have been Phil. No, Philip. Continue. Was it Phil?
Nope. No, he had 2.
Probably Mills. Probably Millie.
Correct. Milner had 3. So let's face it, there were a lot of goals or assists in this campaign. So we get past Augsburg, we all think, let's see who we get now. And then we get to last 16. We get Man United. The first time we've ever played Man United in Europe in a competitive fixture. And this was Louis van Gaal's Man United, who was good at doing a number over us. And we've got to admit, at the start of the summer, everyone's going, they've got Schwein, they've got Depay. Schweinsteiger he still there? Yeah, you're all looking. I remember the joke.
Martial.
We get James Milner, they get Schweinsteiger. And I was a big Schweinsteiger fan, so I thought, it does show big names don't always work. But you were looking at their side thinking, they're dangerous. Martial, obviously gave Tyler, dreams because he's going to get to Liverpool.
I think they spent 30 million on Schneiderlin as well from Southampton that season.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he was a good player as well.
Yeah.
They had quite a few decent players in there. The only thing you would say is defensively, they were gettable because they had a young lad, is it Varela right back?
Right
yeah.
That was that the second leg though?
That's the second. Yeah. No, he played both legs.
Did he play both?
Oh. According to LFC history, because I had to check because I didn't.
He never fancied Luke Shaw from the off either, did he?
No, he got injured in that season, Luke Shaw, didn't he?
Yeah, that's when he had that horrible leg break, wasn't it?
Champions League, yeah.
Jeez, that was bad.
Then you had obviously Chris Smalling and Daley Blind, Rojo, Carrick.
Darmian as well, I think.
Darmian? Nope. He made one as well. He made one obviously Big Phil.
Mourinho, yeah.
Yeah, Big Phil. That was the one I was running, Big Fellaini, because let's be fair, our centre backs were quite easy to bully. But to be fair to us, we got off to a flying start, and then we got the penalty with Depay. I'm not quite sure what Depay does to Klein, to be honest. I think he sort of half brushed aside him, and I was probably VAR wouldn't give you that today. It was an interesting penalty, but I've got to admit, I wasn't confident with Sturridge taking a penalty. He doesn't take them very often, and I'm not a big fan of left footers taking penalty, which Salah still gives me heart attacks. But to be fair to him, he does half bury it.
Yeah, good penalty.
And it's one of the few times you saw Sturridge go mad. he doesn't go mad very often. He showed a bit of emotion for that. He's quite cool, calm when he does it. But
that and the Villarreal game is
the Villarreal was a big reaction. But then after that, it became a little bit of David De Gea versus Liverpool, which you're a bit like, I've seen this game before.
Yeah.
Where somehow Philip Coutinho pretty much he has the whole goal to shoot and he kicks it right at his hand, which I thought was quite a skill, which Phil could do. So how are you feeling half time? 1-0 up. I was concerned, thinking we really need a second. I don't fancy going to Old Trafford just for 1-0 because our record at Old Trafford's crap.
Yeah, I felt the exact same. I was frustrated going into half-time at 1-0 because I thought we had enough chances to get at least a second and then really crank up the pressure. And I think you go 2-0 up before half-time, Man United have got to come out and play, and then you can play on the counter.
Yeah, and then just to make me feel better, they brought on Marcus Rashford. And this is Marcus Rashford who broke in that season. And look what Greenwood looks like now. You're just like, oh, shit. Yeah. And it was pace against Albi Moreno. And you were thinking, Albi Moreno doesn't do pace. He doesn't do defending either. But especially against pace, you're thinking like, oh, this is going to be a back to the walls job. To be fair to us, we actually kept the ball away from Rashford quite well, but we kept missing chances. I think Coutinho again, the head tips it over. Henderson did his trademark. Just all you got to do, mate, side foot it on target, and he managed to hit the back of the cop. Which, to be fair, it takes some doing. It's not always his strength, Paul Jordan, isn't it? That's one thing he likes, but. He makes up for one of those lung busting runs he does, where he digs out a cross and Carrick's at centre back here, miscontrols it, and Lallana finds I can't remember who finds Callum. Some Brazilian guy. I heard he's quite good.
I've got something that will help. A little prop. Yeah, this bro. He thought he found this guy.
Was it Coutinho? Coutinho, that was it. Yeah. I'm being fair to him. Cracking finish.
Yeah, good side foot.
But just credit on Lallana though, that press.
Yeah.
First time that game actually was the first time that I've seen like Liverpool first half. We actually were doing sort of what Klopp has sort of instructed, what he wanted his team to sort of shape up. And Lallana was great in that first half. We actually created a lot of chances, but that second goal epitomizes what Klopp was trying to sort of mold into this team, and that pressing and that that flick from Firmino, that was a really it doesn't look pleasing to the eye, but that was a really sort of good worked out goal if you think about the context of things.
Because it became, Lallana became a bit of a meme at the end, because of his injuries. But people forget, in his first 2 years under Klopp, he was pivotal.
Press.
That's what we needed. People talk about Genie pressing now and all that. Lallana was the first. He really did it, and but he did it with intelligence, because we all take the mickey out of his Cruyff turns, but he was pressing and he'd have that bit of skill to then either find the pass or find someone on. So, I was buzzing going to Old Trafford thinking, right, 2-0 lead, but go to Old Trafford. Now, madly, because we weren't in the FA Cup, these games were back to back. We didn't even, all we had to focus on was Man United, which was, the build up was horrible. I think I watched this at home, and I've got to admit, that first half hour at Old Trafford was horrible. They absolutely hammered us. Mignolet, to his credit, kept score down. He made 2 brilliant saves. Martial was giving Klein nightmares, and at this time, Klein was like Steve Finnan. He very rarely got ruffled. He was pretty solid. He could not handle Martial, and eventually he takes Martial out for the penalty, and he just doesn't know where he is. So, Martial steps up. There's no real doubt he's going to bury it, because that's what they did at the time. And must admit, the old nerves were twitching then, thinking they need one more now. We're looking at extra time. I'm not really sure what's going to happen here. And then, as Allier puts in, Phil turns up with arguably one of the best goals I've seen scored by a Liverpool player. It's ridiculous. Takes it around the young right back like he's not there. Squares up De Gea near post. You think, right, he's going to cross it here, and he lobs it over his shoulder. I've never seen anyone do it. It's such a.
He almost dinks it near post.
Over his shoulder.
It's only Phil to do that, man.
It's like slow motion. You're just like, and it's in that lovely black kit that we had. It was really nice. It was a nice kit that we had as well, and that's where we saw one of the big Klopp fist pumps and. Got everyone quite excited. So
again, that was perfect timing. Though we needed a goal.
Bang on half time, wasn't it?
If that had gone second half and 1-0, you just never know. With United and obviously their fans and whatnot. But you just thought if we can just get one, and then that will settle the nerves going into the second half. and it was brilliant. You know, Coutinho, there's so many parallels that we can draw with Coutinho, but that goal reminded me of what Janino used to do at Middlesbrough. Maybe not like that stretch of run, but like just that little close control, twinkle toes, and just like it was majestic, and it was a great goal. I mean, I was watching it in a pub. I had a little mixed grill and a snake bite. For all those that know what a snake bite is, you're gone after one. And it was we just went absolutely amazing. It was absolutely mayhem. Absolutely mayhem.
What are you laughing at? Teetotal? Don't know what you mean.
Yeah.
Just I'm the UCAN, I'm just apple juice.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I think I was about 3 pints in by that point, so I was dancing.
Kev makes a great point. De Gea back then, I know his form was dipped a bit. Arguably, yeah, he was the best.
He was the best. He was the reason Man United didn't become a mid-table team.
Yeah, sure.
Because he was making saves that were just outrageous. He was worth 15 points. Well. He's worth 15 points season. I mean, I think I remember under Ollie, they beat Spurs 1. I mean, beat Spurs, lol. But I think he made like 16 saves, and they weren't all just right hand. They were like most were decent saves. And he's like, you can't keep expecting the keeper to make 16 saves a game and still stay as you are. Which we found out eventually, you can't sustain that level. But look, De Gea was just different level. So half time, 1-1, and I think as a few have said in the chat, Norman says in the chat, that killed United, deflated them, because then they're looking, going, we've got to score. That would have been 3-1. So they needed to win 4-1 on the night because we had the away goal. You're sort of going, as worried as you were about our defence and some of the frailties in our squad, I thought, I can't see us conceding another 2 or 3. I just can't. I can see us, going through and away goals, but that'd be fair. But to be fair, it was pretty controlled, and this is where we started seeing Klopp's favourite sub, which was Joe Allen for the last 25 minutes, because there's a clamour for Joe Allen to always start, and he never really did it for me when he started. But he was quite a good last 20-minute player.
He knitted things together, though. Joe Allen, and I've had this argument with quite a few. He knitted things together, though. He was actually, there's a game he played against Arsenal that same season when we drew 3-3, but he came on. I'm pretty sure he came on that game as well. He knitted things together, and he was actually intelligent. People don't give him that credit. He was always, the thing is, Brendan didn't help, right? And that's the thing. Brendan didn't help. As soon as he came in, he put this name on him on that fucking show as well. Xavi.
I've rewatched that recently. It's brilliant.
That was the biggest. That's the worst. That's the biggest no you can do. Houllier did it with Bruno Cheroux. Oh, he gives me goosebumps a bit like Zinedine Zidane. You shouldn't do that. Like the guy came in as a 22-year-old, I think, from Swansea, had a really good season, and all of a sudden you're calling him like the Welsh Xavi, and now fans, me included, you get sort of. Psychologically, you just get sort of hyped up. You get hyped up over any signing. I was getting hyped up over Fabio Borini when he signed, when Brendan, first signed him. Yeah, I was, because it was the norm, wasn't it? No. When your club makes signings, you just get sort of excited by it. I was getting excited by Borini, by Rodgers, Assaidi.
I was excited.
Assaidi, yeah. You just get excited by signings, and like. With Jordan, it was the same. It was just like
I nearly crashed my car when we signed Assaidi. He said, "Liverpool have signed a new winger. They've signed Assaidi," and I went, "Is that what you take for indigestion? What the fuck's Assaidi? What's an Assaidi?" I had to Google it. I was like,
I watched his YouTube clips, and I was like, "Yep, we've signed the next flipping Ronaldinho. He's going to be so."
He came from like Holland, I think, as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
His not even like one of the big clips were phenomenal.
Yeah. But it wasn't for like PSV. It was like, was it Herrenweg or something like that? It wasn't one of the big clubs in Holland. So it was.
I can do a compilation of like 10 minutes of Bracky with a football cow and make him look like a Volby on YouTube. Anyway, a little bit of editing. That's all it takes.
I know. I've learned that now.
I tell you one thing.
He taught me that.
I think it'd be some editing if you make me look good at football. My daughter can already run ring without me. She's only 8. I mean, to be fair, it's not very difficult. Big ring, though, in fairness. The other thing that didn't help Joe Allen was on that same show was when they wanted, what squad number do you want? And Ian Eyre with his childish shouting 69, shouting, you're like, oh my god, this is like the director of football. You're going, oh. Then you get to these big Harley Davidson. We were still a bit banter. We still couldn't get rid of that banter. We basically were a bit Arsenal-y, to be honest.
Yeah,
so we were like, oh. So look, but then I think we had a couple of chances. Origi again was starting to come into being a handy sub because he bulked out. And people forget, this is the Origi before he got his legs snapped. which we'll come to. The one thing, though, I think Klopp decided quite early was he wasn't into Benteke. Benteke was pretty much, you're a bench player and you're a last 10-minute player. He had no time for Benteke.
See, I think it was, I don't know if you guys remember the West Ham FA Cup game where we got knocked out by them.
It was 1-1, wasn't it? Coutinho scores that underneath the
defense, and then they scored in the last minute of extra time. I think that was the day Klopp...
Which the ball's out of play for.
Yeah. I think that was the day Klopp was just like, I'm done with Benteke. Benteke probably had about 3 1-on-1s in that game, missed all of them. And you just looked at the bench at Klopp and you was like, no, I'm done with this.
It didn't work for him either, though. I mean, say what you want. I mean, people do say a lot about Origi, but he worked in the Klopp system. And so even Sturridge did. Although he perhaps didn't have the movement or the pressing, he knew within the penalty box he did the business. So you kind of put up with him.
Yeah.
You know, that's how you get away with it. Lewandowski isn't like a massive pressing machine, but you get the ball anywhere in the box and you're like, Klopp goes, well, yeah, but I'll get the ball here and he'll score, so I don't mind. Benteke wasn't doing that. He wasn't doing anything. I mean, he finished for double figures, but still, he just didn't fit. He was a good player at the wrong time. Basically, Liverpool should have signed him probably 2 years earlier and he'd have been perfect. But yeah. So, we finished the game. It was, apart from probably the 4-2 this year at Old Trafford, that's probably one of the more comfortable results I've seen us have at Old Trafford. We were pretty controlled. Emre Can was doing well. Henderson was in and out of the squad at the time because of injuries. But, I must admit, once we got past United, I thought, I fancy us now to go quite far because United were one of the rightly so, one of the favourites for the competition. And I fancied us to do quite well. I thought, we'll be sound, bring in anyone. Then the draw came. And it was, I was like, yeah, we've got Dortmund. So we're like, as well. There was a bloody
touch of Dortmund, wasn't it?
Touch of Dortmund. This is when I was introduced to the bell end that is Tommy Tuchel, which is Gav's favourite ever manager. I'll probably get a T-shirt for him with him on because I think he'd love it. But yeah, no. So away at Dortmund now. Obviously, the last time we were in Dortmund, spoiler, was 2001. It went quite well, but we'll come to that next week. The big shock was Divock Origi started. A fully fit down Sturridge was on the bench, and I must admit, everyone around me and my mates were all like, "What's going on? Why have you not got the only decent striker we've got starting?" Because they've got the likes of who they got. They had a few. They had Alan Top. Yeah, they had Alan Top, the ex Bayern player who was handy. They had loads of really good players.
Piszczek, Royce, Aubameyang, Mkhitaryan.
Have we not signed him yet?
I think Shahin had gone there as well. Shahin was back at there.
Yeah, he was.
Shahin.
No, Shahin, yeah. God, do you remember that?
Gundogan was still there.
Gundogan, I think Kagawa was still there?
Kagawa, he was there. Yeah, he'd gone back from United. He'd gone back.
Yeah, so you were looking at that going, oh my God, what's going to do? As MC put, our friend Drifty, he wouldn't have been happy. He wouldn't have been happy at the time when there was no Sturridge started.
Only decent striker. Is that what you just said, Chris? that would have been Drifty's reaction just there.
Yeah, God, you can't keep living off one goal, Drifty. Come on. That's why I never go on your show because Drifty'd have me.
He has me all the time.
In fairness to him, though, he takes his goal well. Milner into him. It does take a little deflection, but he hits it early, and he
led the line brilliantly that night, though. He did.
He was a battering ram, and then unlucky not to get a second. The keeper, actually, fairness to him, he wasn't a great keeper, but spread himself well.
Was it Weidenfeller? Wasn't it?
Yeah, because he wasn't their main keeper. He was their sub goalie, but they played him in Europa, which is a bit mad. So half time, 1-0. I'm buzzing, thinking because in my head I'm going, we can lose now. We've got the away goal. It just made it so key. And to be fair, second half, you remembered how good Dortmund were. You were like,
it's onslaught, wasn't it?
Absolute onslaught. I think Hummels eventually
Hummels got a goal. Yeah, he got quite early in the second half, I believe.
Yeah, unmarked. Because why would you mark a centre half? From a corner. So it's a good header, but it's so easy. And it was a bit of an onslaught. In fairness to Lovren and Sacco, it was bodies on the line. It was getting the big blocks in. It's like the big Euro away draw. And right near the end, I think it's Coutinho could nick it, and they just get a block on it at the end. So I must admit, I came out of 1-1 thinking it's probably advantage Dortmund because it's 1-1, but because we've got the away goal, we've got a chance. So all we need to do going into Anfield is just keep it tight for the first 10 minutes, and it will be sorted. So I'm sat at home. And I'm thinking like, right, sat at home. So my baby girl's asleep. She is currently at this point nearly 3. So I've already put her to bed. Wife's come home from work. I'm just watching the game. You can see I've got tunnel vision. So my wife goes, "I've got off upstairs. You're clearly not going to talk to me tonight." So I'm going to do that. And then, in fact, no, she doesn't. She sits down with me, and within 5 minutes, 1-0 Dortmund. Ah, shit.
Their goals were brilliant, though. All 3 of them.
Yeah, it's brilliant. So, it's an early goal, but we've come back from early goals before, and I still never forgive him. Is your Twitter alert you have? I have Neil Jones on a Twitter alert, former Echo now goal. I don't know what it is about Neil Jones when you watch it on the telly, but his Twitter alerts come on before the goal. So the goal, so my phone buzzed, looked at it and went 2-0. I went, what? Looked up and he went, as Aubameyang buried it. So that's the delay on telly. But it's like Neil Jones is like that. So if you ever want to know if you want to get a last minute win, have Neil Jones on your Twitter feed, because obviously he's brilliant. He gets it before anybody else does. And I was like, shit. 2-0, you kind of think, that's over. That's over. I can't see us come back from that. The mad thing is, we actually don't play that badly. They're just clinical. They're just clinical. Absolutely clinical.
I didn't think it was over.
I did.
Does anyone ever remember who played that ball for Aubameyang second? Was it Royce who played that ball? And it was a defense splitting pass.
Yeah,
because Saka and Aubameyang.
Yeah.
Was Royce, was it?
Yeah. I think the first goal is when Coutinho loses it. Because Moreno gets blamed for it, and it's not his fault. Moreno does what we tell Robson to do. He bombs on past him.
Yeah.
And Coutinho doesn't give it to him. And he gets tackled. And then he forgets he's got to play left back because Moreno's like in the Anfield Road end having a high or something. So he's like, we've got to get back. So I must admit, half time I was a bit like, because we missed 2 good chances. Origi should score. Coutinho should make up for his mistake. And you just sat there going, this is a bit of a damp way to go. And obviously Klopp against his old club, you kind of know it's coming. You're like, so
I didn't think we were going to lose.
It was always like get one in, it went into halftime 2-0, but you always think fucking second half, cop in, just get one early on, and then that's it. It's a momentum rush then, and then I think Cal was saying that he didn't believe that. We're not lose that game. We're not 2-0.
Yeah, I wasn't confident because I just thought I could see us scoring, but can I see us not conceding again? Because I thought they'd cut us open by their standards pretty easily.
Yeah.
Klopp clearly gets into him at half time because we are a lot tighter and we do get amongst them. And what helps is Emre Can scores very, very early.
Origi
Chan's like brilliant for that goal, though.
Yeah.
48 minutes.
Yeah, 48 minutes, and it's a lovely finish by Origi. And you think, game on, all right. Let's try and get in a second. And then to me, their third goal is outrageous.
Goodness me.
Quickly on that Origi, fair play to him. That season, he was getting in behind as well.
Yeah.
At that point, when you think, he can be a dangerous player. If you just play to his sort of strengths in behind Origi, and he had pace, he's got pace as well. And that was a good finish. And he was scoring a few, towards that back end of that season until that, obviously, that Everton game. But 2-1, and then come on, Chris.
Yeah, and then Callum got
one thing we forgot from the first leg, we lost Henderson to injury.
Yeah,
that was it. I knew we'd lost him around that point because it was a knee injury, wasn't it? Because he had to have a knee up, and he was on the bench for West Brom last game of the season. He was on the bench, never got on. It was a bit of a shame that season. There were some accounts who thought this was Henderson done. When now Klopp's here, it's amazing how many times Henderson's been done, and he's still here. Mad, isn't it?
Crazy.
But you're right. The Hummels pass, it's split. Klein has got no chance of getting near it.
He's weaker foot as well.
And then the finish is just brilliant by Royce. And you are just a bit like,
it was just class all the way through.
Just another player who's been marred by injuries as well. If he stayed fit for the last 5-6 years, we're talking about one of the top level players, like elite level. Like, he was brilliant, but again, can't stay fit.
Yeah. So
desperately unlucky player.
It was.
Unlucky.
So then you're like, we need to get something back. We need to get something back quick. And what I didn't realize is it was quite a bit later. So it's 3:57. It's 66 minutes before we get one back, and it's a Coutinho special. In fairness to him, but he does what he didn't do enough of, and he got better as he got older. Was do the drive from over, do it low in the corner. He had a thing for a while. He wanted to do the Hollywood thing, and Gerrard learned this years ago, which was low and hard in the corner, no keeper saving it.
Yeah,
or you get the deflection. And it's a great finish, and it is the Gerrard, the arms up, come on, get back. Let's see. Milner does really well to set it up because he's being manhandled, and he just gets a flick on for Coutinho to bury it. So that's where you go in, right? Game on now, game on, and then 78 minutes, we get a corner, and we clear. It was cleared, and Emre Can goes down, and we don't know what's up with him, and Can gets carried off. He completely buggers his ankle. So you can see Chan on the telly getting taken off as the corner comes in, and the head of the Liverpool people, as he would like to christen himself,
Liverpool country.
That was it, Liverpool country. Saka with a good header. It's a weird header because it's like it's more like
it still goes down, doesn't it?
It's easy to volley that, isn't it? But the celebration, it was all passion, all that, and that's why Saka at the time was a bit of a cult hero at the time, because
I loved Saka.
Yeah,
same. I tell you what, guys, those 2 legs against Manchester United, I know which you go back. He was absolutely boss, pivotal, monstrous, absolutely monstrous. And to be fair, that sort of fucked his career up as well. That drug test and
it did.
We'll come to that. Yeah. But because he was a physical beat, he was brilliant in the air. He looked ungainly on the ball, but he wasn't bad. He was just prone to the odd brain fart, and if he made a mistake, it really stuck with him. But there was a very good centre back in there. I mean, we'll go into the drugs test now, but the way I will probably say he wasn't the most professional of footballers, which is why he's still at Crystal Palace.
Yeah,
because let's face it, it's not if it's on ability alone, he was better than Lovren, and a bigger club than Palace should have been sniffing around him, and no one did.
Well, dare I say it, the plan was to bring in Matip to play Matip alongside Saka, wasn't it? That was the original plan.
I think that was I think you're right. But we're going to talk post the final because to be honest, it's a bit of fun. There's some fun in games that happen post final, so we will talk about that. So 3-3, and you're just thinking, are we going to do it? And it just doesn't happen for ages because it's 78 minutes when we get it to 3-3, but we don't really make much of the opportunities. And then Klein does really well. Just on the 89th minute, he draws a foul on the halfway line. So we get a free kick. So everybody's up apart from the keeper. And you think, right, boom it in. And let's hope Saka or Lovren gets on it. Come on, boom it in. And he plays a nice pass down the wing to Sturridge, which you're like, what? Sturridge fucks it up.
Yeah.
Gets it between his legs, megs himself, but then plays a clever pass to Milner. And I got goosebumps, the chip. And that is Lovren's peak moment because it is an absolute beauty of the header.
Celebration and everything.
Celebration. He has a little spit and then decides, looks at the crowd, goes, don't know what to do. So he just goes, I'll boot the microphone.
I still can't get over how Milner gets that over the line. How he got that crossing. The dink.
Well, he was the one who didn't he take the original free kick?
I think he was, yeah, because it was a weird free kick. Everyone would have said, boom it in.
Yeah.
Now, I think the plan was obviously for Sturridge to do the spin and cross, but Sturridge gets it between his legs. Yeah, gets it between his legs. It absolutely balls it up, but he gets it out wide. But it's mad in that game because like Lallana goes off and Firmino both go off. We were like quite pivotal players, but it wasn't their night, And the celebrations were wild. You think, I had to sleep in the spare bedroom for the next 2 nights because basically I screamed the house down, woke the baby up, woke the wife up. Wasn't very popular. Probably should have gone and watched it in the pub, but we live and learn. I've done it enough times now.
Yeah, I was going to say you're a brave man and lucky to still be alive, Chris. To be honest,
she's failing Sam in my message. She has to be. She's married to me. You wouldn't wish that on anyone, would you? So you think, right, we're through, and then bless him because I don't think it's a foul, but unfortunately Lucas is in the wrong place at the wrong time too often. And it's a dive for me, but it's a free kick, last kick of the game, Gundogan, and it's about that far wide. Yeah. And I must admit, I think I had a heart attack because it looked in. It absolutely looked in. I was like, oh. So it was then relief. I mean, look, the post-match celebrations, I think we think by this point, I think we're going to win it because we've got past United, we've got past Dortmund. You're kind of going, we've got past most of the big sides that you're thinking these are going to hurt us. You know, that's where, you know, Saka and Lovren became a bit of a cult icon, the two of them. You know, they were really happy. The Dortmund fans weren't very happy with Klopp because he was giving it the big one that they'd won. But I kind of like that because, like, well, he's ours now. He's not yours.
Yeah, he did go salute the fans, though, the Dortmund fans. They all clapped him as well, to be fair.
Yeah, Tommy Tuchel was trying to like the big hard man and got told to sit down. You know, I think that's the start of everyone just going, well, can't be arsed with this fella. Yeah. You know, I just don't like him at all. You know, he was going through a stage before the season of being quite good at bottling semi-finals and quarter-finals. He's obviously learned not to do that now, sadly. So, you know, I was obviously celebrating, loving it, replying to some of my Man United and Everton fans who thought it was quite funny at 2-0. So, you know, I quite enjoyed myself that night. What about you guys? Where were you watching this? How were you celebrating it?
I was home. I actually sprained my ankle because when Lovren scored, I jumped up and as I landed, I was on laminate flooring and I slightly slipped a little bit and sprained my ankle.
Try doing some somersaults or something, didn't it? That's the thing, isn't it? It was like Rey Mysterio or something. Yeah. off the top row, or the top of his sofa or something.
619.
619 or something, honestly.
Do 619.
Behave yourself, Carl. Behave yourself.
No, I literally was just there and I just couldn't. I thought we'd get a fourth goal. When it got to that late in the game, I was just like, you know what? I can walk away from this with my head held high. Like, this isn't Klopp's team. And we've gone to war with a team who, at the time, were the second best team in Germany. But for us to get that winner, it was just like, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
It was similar to like the Olympiacos moment.
Yeah.
Like we scored that, and now it's the momentum. Now we can actually do this. Even back then when Rafa, we thought, yeah, you know what, this can lead to a final now, and you know, let's go and win it. And I think after that, they weren't that many. Who was left? It was Shakhtar, Seville, obviously, and then Villarreal. And you thought, yeah, you fancy Liverpool now, surely.
Yeah. So before we get to the semi-final, I best do my admin, otherwise Avi will tell me off because I always forget the admin. If you can, please smash the like button and please subscribe if you can. We are committed now to try and get to 20k, but every time we get to the next 1,000 marks, or when we get to 11k, we're going to donate 100 euros to Sienna's fund. So every time you subscribe, you are helping Sienna out. So when we get to 11k, 100 euro. When we get to 12k, another 100. And we're going to keep doing this until we get to the 120k for her. People have noticed Callum's merch, but obviously we do have a merch store ourselves. We've got lfcdt.com/shop. Again, everything that's bought this month goes to Sienna, but we also have our Sienna range as well. So, and anytime you buy the Sienna stuff, all the money that goes straight to Sienna. So, you know, they're the main things we can ask for. Look, if you can't buy anything, please just reshare the links. You know, get Sienna, #Sienna Steps trending, and we'll just get that going. All right, Avi, is that good? Or have I missed anything?
Great. No, perfect. Did a bit
That's all right. It's only took me 2.5 months to remember everything, you know.
Ava just made a big point just before kick-off of that Dortmund game, though. You Never Walk Alone song between the two sets of fans. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that's a game. One of those games I wish I was doing. Callum's rearranging everything here.
No, I've got a light in front of me, but a moth has come into the room and is just throwing himself into the light. So I've just had to work it out.
Step away from the light.
Just do a 619 for us.
Yeah. Thank you, Tim Smith, saying smash the like button. Yeah, if you can smash the like, I always forget that one. That'll be good as well.
Sorry about that.
Get it, Cal. Come on. This is content. This is
Miyagi chopsticks, isn't it? That's just one of those ones.
I always do something that gets me on these streams.
It's not, and to be fair, it's not with me setting you up as well.
Yeah. You sent them off tonight.
I did, yeah, mate. You know, well, I could have sent Drifty.
Yeah. It's very true.
So we got Villarreal, which, you know, now I always remember Villarreal from their Champions League days. They were always an awkward side. The Yellow Submarine, you know, and obviously for some clubs, it's very hard to get past Villarreal. You know, they're quite a tricky side. So, but Christ, the away game, it was crap.
We were dog shit.
And they battered us. I've got to say, Mignolet kept in it, but then when you look at the team, with no Henson, with no Emre Can, so the midfield is Joe Allen Lucas, and I think then it's Katina and Lallana filling in. We were threadbare. We've got likes of Brad Smith on the bench, and I think Danny Ward is now the sub goalie. So you all look at the bench going, we're quite threadbare really, because we've just lost the heart of the midfield. I think Milner was still filling in, but obviously he's got to fill in everywhere. So it was a back to the wall job, and the kicker for us was they scored last kick of the game, 90th minute. But in some ways, it's probably the best thing that happened, because we saw a side of Klopp. Now everyone thinks Klopp's nice and smiley and huggy, and we saw the snide side of Klopp then where he didn't like that celebration, and his post-match said early goes, they think they're through. Wait till they come back to our place. They're in for a game. And that fired Klopp up, because pretty much Klopp after that gave up in the league. We were playing like Chiravella, Brad Smith. I think I was on the bench for the Swansea game. Yeah. It was just like, we're giving up in the league. We're just going to go all out for this. We're going all out for this game. So semi-final comes. So on the day of the semi-final, I've anyway, there he is. He's got his apple juice. I can't believe you've not got a sponsor for that yet.
I've been begging, but it's just not happening. It's not happening.
Yeah. Apparently, I put a dig into United. I honestly don't know what you mean, but I'll keep quiet about that. I've got enough people on my Twitter at the moment. I don't need any more. So I was going to watch this game in the pub with my brother in town, but a friend of my brother's, his brother was doing some work for Liverpool for his PhD, had a spare staff ticket, so he gave it to me as my birthday present. So I got to sit in the lower main stand, cop corner, for the Villarreal game, and it's one of those beautiful games where it's daylight when it starts and it goes dark. They're like the perfect game. Atmosphere was bouncing. It's a bit weird going to a game on your own, but it was
a choir singing it, that one as well, wasn't it? Choir singing "You'll Never Walk Alone" at the beginning. So
yeah. So it was good. It was weird though, because you kind of sort of with friends and family or staff, but also you stood there on your own. It is a bit weird going to a game on your own, I must admit. But it's a European semi-final. Not gonna do much about that, am I? So, where did you watch it? Semi-final.
Me?
Either of you?
Where did I watch? I watched that. I actually watched it at home. To be fair.
Okay, cool. Avi, were you still at home then, or you not gone to America yet?
Just at home. Back home in London with my dad and mum. Watching at home, and then. In the first goal, I think Sturridge tries to nick it, doesn't he? He tries to claim it as his, but it was a typical of a striker anyway. But,
I was in line with the 6-yard box. I must admit, I thought it was a goal. And when it was announced as Sturridge's goal, I was going mad. I was like, because we flew at them. Now, they had the first chance of the game, which is a good save of Mignolet, but we flew at them. They did not like the pace we went at them at. But the other thing that was miraculous in this game is Emre Can appeared. Emre Can, for all we knew, was out for the season. He'd done his ankle ligaments. And look, I gave Emre Can a lot of stick because I think he is very overhyped at times. But he was ridiculously good. He dominated. That's big. He didn't do that sort of performance consistently. That was always my frustration with Emre Can. But he was absolutely brilliant. So, 1-0 up with the own goal. And one of the players gets booked quite early because he basically falls over. He wants a free kick. Soldato's trying to start a fight with everyone, including Nathaniel Klein, who's probably the most laid-back fella you're ever going to meet. I think if you're going to start a fight with someone, try someone who's a bit fiery, like a Moreno. I don't think Klein would ever start a fight. He's just not that sort of character. So, but apart from that, we didn't create too many chances, but we were very dominant on the ball. And I think it's 1-0 at half time. And look, crowds bouncing. We're all thinking like, we've got a chance in this because these look a bit rattled. And then Callum, talk us through the second goal.
The second goal was Lallana, wasn't it?
Nope.
Sturridge. So it was Sturridge. Yeah. So it broke to Firmino. Yeah. And he volleyed, but it took a deflection, came through to Sturridge, didn't go off both posts and then go in.
Both posts and in. Yeah. So he's just like, and if you watch that is the biggest reaction you've ever seen. Sturridge. He goes mental. Like that, is it? It's no arms. It's no trying to be quiet and cool and calm. It's just like I've got us to a semi-final, biggest goal of my career. But what happened? Given what happened before this goal?
Yeah, was it Mr. C Senor? He absolutely
Sent
Saldado's career.
He sent Soldado for the Echo.
Yeah, he ended his career. We haven't seen Soldado since.
No, you wonder why Spurs bought him after seeing that. It's just
No, he was at Spurs before that.
I know, but you wonder why they bought him anyway.
Oh,
well, yeah, he just spun it. I mean, look, this was Bobby doing all his flicks and his tricks when he was confident, when he's not being played as a wing back. Because why would you play Bobby Firmino as a wing back?
That was the night Firmino became my favourite Liverpool player.
Was he not always your favourite Liverpool player?
So I actually, when we signed him, I loved Firmino because at Hoffenheim I used to watch him and he was brilliant. And then when Klopp came in, it was the Man City game we won 4-1, and him and Coutinho ripped City to pieces. And I was telling all my friends before this game, I was like, Bobby's the man, just give him time. And that was the game where it felt like he arrived. But that Soldado moment and that game against Villarreal, that was when I was like, oh, he's undoubtedly my favourite player now.
For me, it was the Arsenal, the Arsenal home game.
Oh, the 2 goals.
I thought he was superb in that game too. But that City game, that's when you knew that, you know what, Klopp's going to get it right with Bobby. Because Rodgers just made a fucking total mess of it.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Midnight Tonk wants to know why
thank you. Finally, someone, these faded. That's why I didn't play last week.
Yeah, because I'm sadistic, and also there's some good games.
He's admitted that online. Brilliant.
I mean, to be fair, I think most of them knew that anyway. Callum knows it for definitely.
Yeah, I do.
He gets all the abuse from me. He knows it's true. I like to mix it up. Listen, get them low, and hit them with a big point. I mean, look, we'll do 2001 next week.
It's been a good reminiscing is always good.
Whereas is always good. I know the end. Well, look, we're going to get to the ending in a bit, which isn't fun, but we'll end it on a high. I'll think of a way of spinning it. I normally do. So after Sturridge scores, Villarreal lose their shit, and it's not the snidest of foul by Ruiz, but he just stamp on his foot and he gets us sent off, and he claps the ref and gets him sent off. Their manager goes berserk, but they'd gone at 2-0 down. They'd gone. They knew that was their chance blown. They know they're not coming back from that, and then. For the third goal, Sturridge basically balls up his shot, and Lallana doesn't flick with the outside of his foot and gets it in.
Going back in, and
he's away from goal.
The weirdest thing about this game, this is clean shaven Adam Lallana, who just looks weird. He's definitely somebody who suits a beard. He doesn't suit being clean shaven. It did throw me a bit. Yeah. But look, Liverpool are in another European final. You're thinking, great, we haven't won the UEFA Cup since 2001. We've got a chance. Now, admittedly, we knew we had Seville, and Seville had already won 2 in a row. You're thinking these are a really, really good side. This is going to be a tough game. Now, look, Basel wasn't the biggest of stadiums for a cup final. Look, we can't deny there was a bit of trouble at the game as well. I don't think it was the best segregation, but game kicks off. I think I'm watching it in town, quietly confident, but thinking it's going to be tough. And the biggest injustice in this final is Daniel Sturridge scores, without question, the best goal I've ever seen in a cup final by a Liverpool player, and no one remembers it. Because to be fair,
any cup final, Chris, or just European cup final?
European, I think.
Oh, okay.
European. I don't think of a European. No, not any cup final. I think Gerrard's is quite.
Yeah,
good,
I was going to say.
No, I think the European goals I've seen Liverpool score, I think that's the best technical one I've ever seen. Outside,
I think that's fair to say that.
European final, without a doubt.
Yeah, Ben's it. I mean, the great to me is Gerrard's against it in the FA Cup final.
Yeah, I was going to say outrageous. That's got to be, yeah.
But yeah, it's just outrageous, and you're thinking we're on because our record when we scored first was pretty decent, but it's a story last season. We just couldn't kill them off. We couldn't get the second. Lovren does score, but to be fair, he is over. I think he is just offside as well, so it's a bit. So look, you're quietly confident, but unfortunately, the situations which happened just before the Villarreal game start to catch up with us. We still haven't got Henderson, who is just come back from injury. Emre Can, for me, I think Villarreal was his swan song because I don't actually think he was fit. Milner looks knackered. And we've got Kolo Touré playing at centre-back. Martin Skirtle's on the bench. He's been pretty much basement material. No one wants to be anywhere near us. And unfortunately, Saka was suspended. Now, he's suspended at the time for failing a drugs test, which is a bit of obviously, is a big no-no. Now, it's since come out what he's taken isn't illegal. So he's cleared his name. But for him, he did miss a cup final. He did miss the Euro. Was it the Euros in his own in his own country? So it cost a big chunk of his grant and probably did hurt his reputation. The only thing I would say as a caveat to it is he took what was basically a fat pill.
Yeah.
So my question is, if you are a professional athlete, why do you need to take a fat pill? Are you not? There is a question of, are you not looking after your body enough? No, look, only Saka will know the answer to that. But look, Kolo Touré, he's a lovely fella. He was great in his day. He was well past his best. And he wasn't mobile enough to be covering Albi Moreno. Because in fairness to Saka, he had the pace and the speed to at least cover at left back if he needed to. Touré couldn't do that. And I think second half, they exposed it. Now, look, Albi's come out recently and said, I don't know why I'm played for this final. You know, there's 11 pitch. He is right. There are 11 men on the pitch. And to be fair, no one reacted. But a minute into the second half, he just dropped an absolute bollock and lets them in.
I think that's what it was more, though, that we let them in. Just on that first half, though, we looked so sharp. Yeah. We actually looked sharp. We could have got a penalty as well. Yeah. Everything was sort of like, okay, you know, we've got this. That goal, though, Sturridge, it was absolutely magnificent. The flair, the technique, just that space that he created, and boom, just let it out. And like, you know, it was a great start. If we had I just felt always that as soon as Kevin Gamero scored, I just thought, oh, you know what, this is it now. These when they could come on their own, and they had some great players as well. Mariano, Koke, even Beniga. When he was sat in that middle, he started dictating that second half, and the game was sort of lost from there on. As soon as we gave him time and space to ping these passes and start making it, and they were a snidey team as well. Let's not forget, Seville were a snidey team. We played them, I think, in the pre-season a few years later as well, and the Champions League too.
It was a mirror image. The game was a mirror image.
Snidey bastards, yeah. And you know, I think that's where it was lost. Had we just hung on to the first sort of 5-10 minutes of that second half, I think it could have been a different story. But yeah, I think. Cal, I don't know what you thought.
No, I agree. I mean, another name we missed out from the injury players as well, Chris, was Origi. I know he made the bench for this game, but obviously, Funes Mori was an absolute idiot for what he did to Origi and really derailed him.
I mean, to be fair, I've obviously got my wife's side of the family are all Blues, you know, so you can imagine it's fun. You know, but in fairness, most of them will all go like, I don't think they were annoyed that he'd done it. What they got annoyed with,
wasn't it?
He packed the badge and all that, didn't he?
When he got sent off,
yeah. But as my wife's uncle said, yeah, that's great, mate. You've injured a red man. Yeah, great, well done. He said you are suspended for the semi-final against Man United, and they had to pay like 85-year-old Phil Jagielka, and they got, and, you know, it probably cost them a semi-final. Yeah, you know. So, but you know, that's just how it is sometimes. You know, it was hard to take. I must admit, I took it quite badly. I think I was in floods of tears.
I took it terribly.
You know, it says, when your younger brother again is consoling you. You know, obviously.
I think more because we had lost that League Cup final as well to City, that we thought, you know what, maybe there's light at the end of the tunnel in the Europa League final. Once we got there, you thought, you know, it's Liverpool, it's our pedigree, it's our history, it's our tradition. We won't lose this. But you know, fair play to Seville, they had some great players, and Unai Emery, you know, he is the king of the Europa League.
Yeah. The frustration was it felt to me like it was becoming a habit. 13-14 just missed out on the league, lost the League Cup final, lost the Europa League final. Klopp's records of finals isn't good, but spoiler, we are going to talk about another final Klopp was in.
I'm out for that one, lads.
Yeah.
Call my PTO now, mate.
So, you know, but it felt like that, and you were at that point, which to me, spoiler, we're going to finish on Madrid, because to me, Madrid was that broke the hoodoo for Klopp, and it broke the hoodoo as Liverpool fans. Was like, you just miss out on a league, and but you still get one of the other big ones. And it was, I always think when you get the first big one over the line, that can normally kick you on. A_C8514. This could be a bot, but I think this is also all I do on a t-shirt. It might not be. I was so gutted that final. Drove for 24 hours in a camper van to Switzerland, and then drove home. Was the longest journey of my life. I mean, I bless anybody who does that, you know, because but that's the risk, isn't it? Because it's
it didn't hurt me as much because essentially Klopp came in sort of like mid-season, right? Even though he came in October, and you just thought that that's when we lost that final, that he was like, he's got time now to go over the summer of 2016, get the players that he wants in, and we go again now. Like, these are long-term projects. So I thought maybe he had sort of achieved, he had overachieved that first season, but it would have been nice, to get one off the duck, a trophy under his belt straight away. I mean, had he added a league, that would have been amazing.
But coming out the final, there was quite a bit of criticism of Klopp, saying he should have spent less time trying to G up the fans and more times doing his tactics, which I get to a point, but then there's also part of me that goes, I think the reason he's trying to G the fans up because he's basically look at the lads he's got going,
they're not good enough.
Some aren't good enough, and basically some are running on fumes. They need something to kick them on, and the only thing I can think to kick them on is and that's not putting it on the fans. You've got to try something. But the issue we had was the subs didn't work. I mean, Origi came on for Bobby, and he wasn't fit. Alan came on for last 15 for argument. He should come on sooner, but Lallana was quite ineffective.
I actually thought Alan should have started that game.
Yeah, there was definitely a clamour for him because it suited his style of play. And then Benteke came on for the last 7 minutes for Kolo Touré. It was just Hail Mary stuff. But I mean, you're not going to like me for this, Cal. Firmino in finals never quite worked out for him yet. He does very well getting us there, and I'm not going to deny him that. But I must admit, I haven't quite seen Firmino yet really light up a final that we know we can do.
All in the Super Cup.
That's my time, guys. Lovely speaking to you.
I know he's got the World Club. I mean, like Champions League finals, League Cup finals, the main finals that we talk about.
I mean, how many finals has he played in since he's been at Liverpool? So did he play in the league? He did play in a League Cup final. Yeah. Obviously, Champions League final. He shouldn't have started Champions League final. He wasn't fit.
No, the Madrid one, the Madrid one, he shouldn't have started. Yeah,
that was like the Harry Kane for Tottenham. He shouldn't have started either. And then
2 Champions League finals, one Europa, 1 League Cup final, Super Cup, and obviously the World Club. Now look, World Club, he scores a good goal.
Super Cup as well, he played really well. He got us back.
He made the assist for Martinez's
for both goals.
Yeah. Oh, you're not claiming an assist for that. Come on, man. He bent it top goal. He changed
the game. Yeah. He changed the game. Though. We don't win that game if Firmino doesn't come on in that game. He changed that game. World Club Championship again. That's him. But you're right. The League Cup, I let him off for the first 2 because that was Klopp's first season. The same way I let Klopp off because it wasn't his team and all the pieces weren't in the right place. 17, 18, I think he got caught in the headlights. I think the moment Salah went off, apart from Mane, no one else, apart from the defence, played well.
I thought the front three was sensational with Gini in the 18 prior to Salah going off.
We had
him on the ropes.
If Salah stays on that pitch, we batter 100.
We win that, yeah. That's how we do.
Yeah. Listen, I'm just hoping he scores in the final. Scores the Champions League final this year. I'll be made up.
Yeah, same.
So there were some criticisms going out, but you were looking into it going, right, so I need to, apparently I'm going to leave on a high note, so I'll try and find one. Give me a second. So for a little
off the back of that, I can give you one. Off the back of that, obviously we didn't get Champions League. Had we got Champions League, we'd have probably got Mario Götze instead of Sadio Mane.
Sure.
Very true, because we look at the summer that came in, there was clearly a plan here, because Sadio Mane came in, Karius came in. Now look, we know Karius didn't work out, but the idea of what the type of keeper he wanted going forward was there. I mean, a bit like with City when they got Edison, they had Bravo before that. Bravo wasn't quite right, but it was you could see the style we were going for. Joe Matip came in, probably the third best free signing we've done. Probably only McAllister and Milner, I'd say, are better free signings. I'll get corrected. Genie's not a free signing, is he?
No. After that signing that you said.
Yeah. Genie came in, and then we also had Clavan. Raggy did well for us.
Genie was just a quick one. That was the mystery one because he came in as a 10, played as a winger at PSV and Feyenoord, and he thought, wait a minute, do we actually need a Genie Wijnaldum in our team, considering how Klopp? But Klopp had other ideas, and what an idea it was in it. Kravitz and Buvac. But again,
Genie wasn't first choice, was he? It was Zielinski, because he had a picture of him with a shirt and everything.
It was Zielinski, and then it was Mamadou Daoud as well. Was another one.
Mamadou Daoud, for Dortmund, But he was, I think, Gladbach.
Yeah.
And he went to Dortmund, yeah. So Genie was like,
Xhaka was another name as well.
Yeah.
oh, do you remember that? Everyone's mad over Xhaka. God, like, if I didn't sign him.
Yeah.
Oh, can you imagine? But then we got Genie, and I was the same, thinking like, he's a decent wide, he's a decent attacking player, but we need something for midfield. I mean, to be fair, look what we got.
James's Park, and he had a good game as well against us. I think they beat us.
Scored 2 goals.
Yeah, when Steve McLaren was in charge. Yeah.
Scored
and he actually played well. So maybe Klopp said, you know what, there's an intelligent player here who I can obviously use. And yeah, I think the Godser one was scary, but I think Godser because he had a serious illness as well.
Yeah,
but he basically said, "You're not Champions League. I'm not interested." So we went.
Fine.
MC, does anyone remember Nuri Sahin? I remember his debut against West Brom. He was brilliant. But
Rodgers,
again, Rodgers trying to play as a 10.
Yeah, Rodgers messed him up big time.
Absolute idiot.
Lasted 6.
Carl, when
I've seen that before.
Now, when you get a player of that quality, we all saw what he was at Dortmund. Well, goes to Real Madrid. Unlucky with the injuries. Arsenal are fighting for him that summer that we get him. We get him on a loan with I think like a 3 million loan fee as well, and he plays him as a fucking 10. Like, what are you doing? Like, and to be fair, he did score a fair few goals as well. That Norwich when Suarez scored that hat trick, but everyone knew he was a deep lying midfielder.
And then he went back to Dortmund. Went to Dortmund and got to a Champions League final, and was actually very good for him. Yeah. Mad, that, isn't it? The other fun part of the summer. This was the summer Saka's infamous
Alcatraz just around the corner from me as well.
Yes,
Alcatraz.
Now, to me, dispels the myth. He goes, "Oh, Klopp's too nice to players." He'll always stick by. No, Klopp will stick by his players as long as you're not a dickhead.
Yeah, just put down a marker.
Yeah, because literally, you remember now Now, some say he was set up Saka because he was asked by LSTV to do the GoPro thing and be Saka, be quite jolly, but it was the tone because he has a smile on his face and he said to him, "Some of us were nearly not on the plane because we were late, and some of us have also been late to meetings, haven't we?" And you could see Saka's smile. It's that awkward smile of, "We're gonna have words later, aren't we?" And then what happened was a day later, he missed a rehab session on his ankle. Yeah, he was late for another meeting. He was gone.
Well, Klopp even joked when they were doing the thing outside Alcatraz, was like, "I might leave you here," and I was like, I was like, that didn't seem like a weird way as well, innit? You're like an idiot, didn't he? I was like, Klopp's got a straight face when he's saying that. That didn't seem like a joke.
That does sound like a joke. But if you looked out, we probably went in a centre. We probably went in. A lot of us would have sold Lovren and kept Saka. But to be fair to me, we went, at least Lovren does what I ask him to do.
But guys, if you remember, we played Leicester City at home when we had the new stand, and he played Lucas at centre back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he played Lucas at centre back for that game. So you know how we say that Fabinho and I think always in Klopp's tenure, he's always a player short in centre back. So
yeah. But I mean, we had seen this with, I'm not to lambast Saka, but we'd seen this before where I think he didn't get picked for the derby, one of the home derbies for Rodgers, and instead of being on the bench, he walked out.
Yeah, I think that was the Merseyside derby game. Goodison, though, I think that was.
Yeah,
he just stormed off. He didn't care for.
So, but to me, I liked the fact that he said because I thought Rodgers was quite soft. I don't think he was good with big personalities. We had a big personality manager now, which was, take me on. There's only one winner, and it's definitely me. Somebody it's nice to see a manager. You thought this guy's secure, as in I don't think he cares if you like what he says or not. I mean, let's be fair to him. In his first year, he called the main stand out more than one occasion. I've seen him front the main stand and point fans out for, basically, challenging the Liverpool way. Which
leaving early as well.
Leaving early, I felt like I was on my own. You all left me early. It's quite brave to do that because let's face it, you win on the best of runs. Yeah. The one that stuck in a lot of people's craw, and I liked it, was none of you now can touch the Anfield. This is Anfield sign. Until you win something with me, you are not allowed to touch anything. And he still kept that rule now, and I quite like that. It's like you want to be one of the greats, but then he also called the fans out and said, "Yeah, it's great you've got all this history. It's great we've won everything, but it's a different team. We'll forget about that. We've got to do it ourselves, and we need to reset expectations that we've got to do it ourselves. And whether you like the owners or not, that's quite a brave appointment because there aren't many managers we've seen manage for call home crowds out. It very rarely works out. So it was quite an impressive appointment.
I just loved it how opposition fans laughed at us after that West Brom 2-2, wasn't it? And now they realise why he actually
we fought to the end.
Why we did what we did. Yeah, exactly.
Fought to the end.
Yeah, there's a lot of links with West Brom. We always have turning moments in West Brom, don't we? So, like keep it like
moment of the season this year.
Yeah, keep scoring goals. There you go. There's your high point to finish on. People. So that's good.
No, even Klopp's first full season, Firmino scored against West Brom, and Mignolet made a brilliant save in the second half to actually allow us to win that game, which subsequently meant we got Champions League as well.
Yeah. So, look, I although we didn't feel like it at the time, in hindsight, probably missing out on Champions League probably allowed us to bed ourselves in better with Klopp. I don't think the squad he built the next season was deep enough or good enough to do both. I think if we'd done Champions League, I don't think we'd have made top four. So I think it was like a bit of a one step back to make one step forward. Because to be fair, since he's got back in Champions League, we've made it every season since. It's every full season he's been in, we've made it. So, and that gave us that sort of impetus to that side to have a go at Kiev, which we'll probably talk about at some point. Cool. So, Avi, anything else before we go?
Yeah, I know we mentioned the player earlier on, but prayers for Jordan Ibe, who's been suffering a lot in the last sort of 2 years with mental health. So, just wanted to put that out there. And I know there's been a few messages out in the last couple of days, but prayers and thoughts with Kieran Thorne as well. Oh, yeah, good point.
Kieran Thorne, friend of the show. Listen, mate, we're all here for you, mate. If you need anything, you know where to find us. Top man. Top man. Callum, I'm sure they know now, but where can everyone find you? Apart from abusing me on Twitter.
So apart from here on a Friday with this lovely series that the Daytrippers have put together, you can also find me on Coppish as well, and you'll see me randomly pop up on other podcasts, etc. But just want to echo what you guys said about Kieran as well. Yeah, thoughts and prayers to Kieran, and we are thinking of you, mate.
Good. When you say randomly appearing, I mean they do know you're coming on, don't they? You don't just like you don't just sit around and go,
sneak into
did you invite him?
Just a quick one. Callum also does a MMA boxing channel as well, so big up to that. Great listen on YouTube. So for all the guys in the comments, if you're a big MMA fan, or if you're not a big fan, but if you're just a fan of MMA and boxing, go and follow his channel.
Bless you, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Or if you just want to wind Callum up, just do that as well. Because
that's on the regular.
Message Chris if you want to wind me up.
I'll give you the material. Yeah. See, when Callum meets you face to face, I'm gonna be in so much trouble. But listen, look, that's the end of the show. Right? We've done some of the heartbreak ones now. I promise you, next Friday it'll be us three again, and we are going to do the 2001 run to Dortmund. And I will say it now, it is still my favourite season as a Liverpool fan. I still think it is one of the great seasons for Liverpool. And as I have called it before, I believe 2001 is the birth of modern Liverpool, where we basically realised what we wanted to be and what we should have been. So tune in, because it's the old UEFA Cup final, so there's a lot of games to get through. And obviously, you know how Avi likes to talk. So, we've got to try and cut the time down. So until then, though, take care of yourselves, be good, and we will see you all next Friday.